Hi, and welcome to Conversations with the Coach. It's only money. I'm Randi Levin. I'm the founder and CEO of Randi Levin Coaching, and I am a certified transitional life strategist, which is a really fancy way of saying that life does not always play out in a straight line. And we're not the same people at 30 or 50 or 60 that we were at 20, and we're not supposed to be. It's all about change, and it's all about what's next. And what's next now is my co-host, Ivy Slater Success Coaching, who I believe, in my opinion, is New York City's best business coach. And Ivy spent 20 years as an owner and operator of a successful 7-figure printing business, Slater Graphics in New York. Her clients were W Magazine, Harper's Bazaar, New York Magazine, Town and Country. And then she had a life change. She switched careers. She herself made that switch. And her friends kept telling her that the coaching was the thing for her. And she went out and was mentored by some of the best professionals and business people, coaches in the industry. And Slater Success Coaching was born in 2008. And since then, Ivy has helped multitudes of women and men, business owners globally, to achieve success on their own terms. She's the author of Conquering Your Fear, Money, A Woman's Guide to Business Success. She speaks at conferences, seminars, and workshops worldwide. And Ivy, welcome, because I want you to say a little bit more about the heart of Slater Success.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on as your guest tonight. I'm so excited to be here and to hang with you for this. And cheers. Really to hang with you. It's so Slater Success. It's interesting. I just came from a dinner with some old girlfriends. And so it's interesting that you asked this because they're like, well, I thought you did this. Like, what's the heart of your business? Well, you said it so well. And it's really to help the women business owners out there make the money they want to make in their life and enjoy their lives where they are. Get out of the struggle, get out of the grind, build the businesses that we love, and have a joy in doing it. I truly believe in building a business and staying in integrity to the life we live. Randi, personally, you and I talk about travel and vacations. I don't think that is given up when you build a business. I think you incorporate your life, you incorporate your families, whether it be our young ones, our older ones, or whatever it is. You build a business that works in your life, and that's what's important.
Thanks, Ivy. You're breaking up a little bit. I don't know if you have earphones or if that would make a difference or not, but it's clear, but you're breaking a little bit, just so that you know. So anyway, I'm sorry, what?
I hear the same thing. You're a little crackly.
We're crackly. Okay, well, we will keep going and hope for the best. When people think about the word money, it denotes so many different things and to different people. And our relationship to money and how we view making and spending money often mimics our relationship to life itself. So tonight we're going to explore the concept of wealth, value, measuring success, as well as our relationship to all of that. So Ivy, we have this mindset around money. It's internal dialogue, if you would, and it's emotional. It's an emotional link. So why is this their emotional attachment that we have to money, and how can we detach from it?
Money's it's a very funny word. Okay, there's a lot of energy around that word. Is money a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Does money represent greed? Does what money represent want, wealth? Is money the root of all evil, the conduit to give you everything you want in your life and to provide for your family? There's so many connotations of what the word means. It's only 5 letters, and it's built into such a big stinking deal, and it gets my passions up. To me, money is an energy source. That's all it is. It means nothing. Actually, what's really funny about money today is we don't even play with money anymore. Nothing, I ask sometimes when I'm speaking in different places, I ask people, how much money do you have in your wallet? And I'll get I carry about $40 in cash. I'm like, okay, here's another $40. You have all the money you want. They're like, absolutely not. It's $80. And I'm like, but I just doubled your money. It's so significant. It's so big. big. You know, we live on plastic, on credit cards, on debit cards, you know, that represent what money is. So now let's look what really money is. It's a conduit between what you have right now and something you want to add into your world. Maybe you want to add a vacation. Maybe you'd like to add a new dress. Maybe you would like to add a certain level of education. What do you want to add into your world? And it's the energy that helps you achieve that.
I love that. I love that. Just so that you know, we just lost you. We had audio only. Now you're back. So you're kind of going in and out a little bit. You may have to call in again. Check the slide because I will let you know if we lose you again or not. I love that. It is all about energy. So making money for many can be a motivator, Ivy, not only for all the things it can buy us, the wants and needs it fulfills, but for what it represents. For most, we understand that motivation, right? We want to make money because money buys things. But we may not understand just how money can actually get in the way and be an obstacle as well as a motivator. Could you elaborate a little bit more on what that is and what that means? Because we've all seen that happen, I think, certainly in coaching. Go ahead.
That was a cool one.
Can you hear me? Ivy?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. So we're talking about how money can also be an obstacle, not just a motivator to the things that we do and the things that we want.
So money so often, and it breaks my heart when I hear this, is people refer to, if I only had the money, I would. You know, which completely gives this a complete negative connotation, a negative point of view, a negative way to look at it. When money provides us the way we live, right? With a home, the cars we drive. It provides for our children. It's a beautiful tool. So when we actually skew it to the negative, it goes completely downhill. And that's what I like people to start moving away from. Take it out of the negative. What can money do for you? How can we embrace it? How can we get a loving relationship to it? To see the good it does. When you give money to a charity, right? And it has an impact on children, on women, on shelters, on so many things, right? If it's health, if it's diabetes or heart disease or cancers, it does so much good. So why do we stay with money in the negative? Why do we say, oh my goodness, if I only had the money? Instead of saying, what can I do? What can I do? So how much money do I actually want? What would that look like? How would that impact my life, my family's life? How would it impact the world? Mm-hmm. What are the steps I can take to help get me there? And it's part of the steps. It doesn't happen in a day. It doesn't happen in an hour. It's the steps you take to achieve it that's in the long-term success of it.
So, yeah, that really does make sense. But the obstacles, those things that get in our way, I guess we also call those fears. And we all love that word fears, right? The impact of conquering some of those fears around money. I guess some of the big ones would be fear of success, right? Fear of not being successful, fear of perfection, of not having everything go quite the way we want it to go or the way we imagined it would go for us. Fear of self-worth and not feeling worthy enough to step into the job you want or earning the money you want or having the life you want. And sometimes I think that people tend to play small because they're more comfortable in playing small than in reaching us a little bit more to whatever the next thing is. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, it truly, there are so many fears, and you hit so many points. I can go on and on. So try to rein me in here when you need to, please.
Mm-hmm.
a couple of things you touched on. One is fear of success. You know, some people say there is no fear of success. I don't know if I agree with that. I know I've had fears of success. So, okay, I'm not going to speak for the universe. I'll speak for me. When I was building my first business and I was raising my kids, when I was building my printing company, there are fears of how can I do this all? You know, the year Slater's success took off, really took off, was my son's senior year in high school. And I was like, wow, can I do all this? I want to be there for him as a mom. I want to be there with him in his journey of his senior year. You know, am I scared of success? Am I scared of detaching from my family? How can I do this all? My fears were success looked like, well, I don't want to lose this really important moment in my family. You know, there's fears here that are very real. We want to, at least for me as a mom and a woman, I want to be there for everyone. I want to be there for my clients. I want to be there, and I will be there every step of the way for my family. And sometimes, you know, things are a little unpredictable. You know, so is fear, can I manage it all? How can I do this all? Is that fear of success, is this going to get so big that I'll be able to manage it? It's going to run away. I'm going to lose the perspective of being grounded. So all of those things come through that journey. And that's, you know, those are true fears, you know, and again, I'll speak for me as a woman. They have been there, really there. And there's 100% truth and reality to that. And I wouldn't change a thing in the journey I've been on, in that conquering that fear or navigating that fear, making the choices and decisions every day. Today, what is my focus? You know, I have a daughter who's having, you know, a procedure done this week. Where is my focus come that day? Well, guess what? My family comes first. You know, my mom had a surgery a couple of months ago. Family came first. It's how do you navigate it and how do you build it without feeling you're losing anything? So I think there is a fear of success when we have other responsibilities in our lives and we're always prioritizing and making choices and decisions. You know, in the same way you touched on something else, Randi, that's really holds true to my heart in the whole value thing. So I strongly believe that women really do have struggle in seeing the value and the worth they bring to others. We are givers by nature. We are carers. You know, we are the caregivers in our homes. You know, there's a reason, go back to Florence Nightingale, right? Women have always been the caregiver
in 5th grade.
You know, can she come on? Wait, I want her opinion on this. You know, women have been the caregivers. We take care of everyone. You know, we don't look for the dollar exchange, right?
Right.
So all of a sudden when we say, how do we put a value, how do we put a price tag on this? Well, there's a lot of questions that come up. How do we put a number on something that we're just giving and we want to give and we want to help? And there's a big, and it becomes very fearful. Where is this number? And then when we create that number is, will my clients receive that value? Am I worth it? That fear of, am I worth it?
Right.
Will they receive enough? Will I do enough? How many 3-ring circuses can I jump through to prove the fact that I am worthy of their investment?
Mm-hmm. But I think,
and so fear it's all over the place, especially with women.
It is all over the place, but we both know, and I think that both of us can say personally that we've stepped into some of the fears ourselves. That I think our greatest success, and I'm not equating any dollars with that, our greatest personal success often comes the moment we climb the mountain that we put in front of us and kind of get at least peek over the side, if not get over the side of whatever that thing is that's sticking in our way, that's stopping us from doing the next thing. And there's this internal celebration that basically happens when you step into that fear. And it's the only way to get past some of this stuff that holds us back. And the money part, it's there. It's in the universe. It depends, I guess, on your definition of success and where you measure that.
And to me, I don't look at success as financial.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
You know, I think that is the financial piece of success is when you have stepped into the word success, stepped into being success,
Mm-hmm.
what your world looks like. How happy are you internally? Do you love what you do? Are you excited to get up in the morning? Are you looking forward to every conversation you're going to have that day?
Mm-hmm.
You know, to me, that's success. Along with that means that my business is growing because it means I'm making a difference. And I understand my business is paying bills.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have bills to pay. You know, and success pays a lot of bills. It pays bills for an office, a staff. It pays bills in my personal life and my children's lives and what we can do for them. You know, is travel. I leave for San Francisco next week. You know, it pays bills. But the biggest piece of success is the difference I'm able to make with Slater's success that then pays the bills.
Understood. And love that. That's a big piece. And I don't think people generally get that piece of it. You know, you equate it with the income and what the income buys and forget about that other piece. And that other piece is your own worth, your own good vibe, your why, essentially. Why you wake up in the morning to do the thing that you do or don't do. What compels you? So in your book, Conquer Your Fear of Money, you discuss some tips, strategies, practicing along these lines, and how we can better understand and choose that relationship to money a little bit. Do you want to give us a little bit of a feel for what's in your book in terms of conquering that fear of money?
You know, when I wrote the book a couple of years ago, I really, you know, stopped and I said, okay, I've built two businesses. Both I feel are successful. I've raised a couple of kids. I have a lot more value in raising my kids than building my business. Okay. What has worked? What has worked? How do I break this down? And Conquer Your Fear of Money, Women's Guide to Business Success, is stories. It is tips and strategies, and it's worksheets. So I always believe we can conquer our fear of money if we actually break it down into the steps and systems of what we can do. How do we touch base on this, right? How do we create what we want? How do you create the business you want? How do you create the life you want? Well, you could start by actually slowing down a little bit, taking some deep breaths, and identifying what do you want your life to look like. Then we can build that business. So it breaks down the steps. It breaks down goal setting. You know, Randy, we both teach about goals. We both talk about goals. We both believe in goals. You know, but most people create ideas, not goals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do you really get something specific that you could break down an action plan on? I do a whole segment on the whole value piece, how to actually learn to step into your value. What are some exercises we can do to believe and increase our strength and belief in ourselves? How can we see our others from the outside in?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So looking at yourself through a different person's perspective.
Right.
So it's a series of exercises and worksheets. It's also my story, the journey I've been on in building my businesses, as well as we touch on some of my clients' stories and what they've achieved, which has been really an interesting path. It's interesting to actually see from the outside, when somebody sets their mind and they said, Ivy, I want to do this, and we go on the journey together, to actually stop and actually look at the milestones. We always are rushing to the end of the finish line, and we forget to celebrate all the milestones in between.
Exactly. It's about all those little successes that we forget about. And they're usually personal. They're usually things that, if we don't really look, we don't really listen, we don't really see. But if we stop to take it in, we'll see that there's a path almost of little pebbles of success. And they all add up. They all go in a path. And if you see them, it's a good thing. It's a really good thing.
And, I started the book and I said, okay, the interesting thing is when I sat down to write it, I resisted writing a book. I resisted. I said, I'm not writing a book. One of my early clients, probably about 9 months into working together. And it was when it was really, I only had private clients at this point. I was just building it up. And we would sit down in person once a week. She was actually in this, lived within walking distance from me. Now I have clients all over the place. So we'd walk and we'd meet once a week. And about 9 months in, she goes, you are with all these notes. You're going to write a book on this, right? And I was like, oh, no, I'm not writing a book. I have no intention of writing a book. I don't want to write a book. I don't see myself writing a book. I have no desire to be an author. And she was the first one who said, you have to do this. You have to take this message forward. And then a few other people, until I got enough really swift kicks in the butt. And I sat down to write it and I said, where do I begin? Where do I begin here? How do I begin? When I was building Slater Graphics, I never really thought so much about what I was doing in the early years. I was young, I was ambitious, and I wanted to provide a life for myself and then my kids. I just got up every day and I did what was next. There's a great thing about being young, fearless, and maybe a little stupid. Not that I really go for that word, but naive in the process. And so when I put the book together, I really started saying, what did I do? And one thing I always did is I broke down what I wanted. So I wanted my child to go to this, I wanted to live here so my kid can go to this preschool because it was close to the subway, which made it easy for my office. What do I have to do to get that preschool to take my kid? Break down the action steps. They're like, but we have schools all over New York City. I was like, yes, but this is the one that's a block from the subway. That's a direct subway to my office. That's the school I want. I was really specific. And that's the way I've done my businesses in the same light.
I love that. Love that. Abundance. One of my favorite words. I like the word abundance. It has lots of connotation to it. We can be abundant and not have lots of money, or we can have lots of money and not be abundant. So I guess the goal is to have a little bit of both, to have that abundance, to feel worthy, to feel that you're grateful and personally successful, and to be able to achieve on all levels. What are your views on that?
I love the word abundance. To me, abundance is a full life.
Mm-hmm.
And abundance is a full life. If what you want in your life is provided with money, with most of us, we have to pay the rent or the mortgage. Okay. It's a fact of life. Right. Randy, you've heard me say this, I think before, is 100 years ago or 200 years ago, you and I can exchange, eggs for a bolt of fabric. We both are good, right? Today, mm-hmm. That exchange is about money. So when you look at abundance, to me, abundance is about life. If you live an abundant life, a life filled with abundance, your life is filled with joy, mm-hmm. happiness, fulfillment. What does that mean? Is it a roof over our heads? Is it healthy family? Yes. That's to me the heart of abundance for me is my family. Having my family together is an abundance. Now, to get my family to be together, we live coast to coast. There is some money in exchange here. Okay, my family is on 3 different states. So there's some money involved in being together to live that abundant moment. So we want to create the abundance in the financial aspect to give me the abundance that fulfills me as a person, as a woman. So when you live in abundance, you can have everything you desire. But to me, the goal isn't on the money.
Right.
The money is just the conduit.
Mm-hmm.
Living abundance is living a family vacation with my kids who are like going on 24 and 21. Okay. It's a family vacation. They don't go under 12 here. They can't sit on your laps. They take up, more room than we do. So to be together as a family to me is my heart of abundance. At this point, that costs money. And so I will create abundance to create what's important to me, to live my abundant life.
Agree. So what can money actually buy? The Beatles tell us it can't buy love. I agree. I'm not sure money buys, as you just said, some of the things that we most value or that we most cherish in our day-to-day lives. And yet it remains this symbol that we use. It's something that we obviously need. So what are some ways that we can all be wealthy in thought, in how we approach some of the situations in our lives, or maybe how we approach our business? What's a wealthy approach to one's business?
A wealthy approach, or I could also say an abundant approach to your business. No, and I'm going to actually think about this and not just give you like a quick answer. I don't think that's the solution here. When we look at a wealthy approach to business, right, to me, wealth is in joy. Okay, abundance is in happiness. If I'm abundantly happy, I have the greatest abundance. When I have wealth, I am so joyful, right? I'm full of wealth of joy.
So, you mentioned money. Yeah, though.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And what do you want? What do you want it? Right?
Right.
Let's look at this. People all over this country. We have different wants. We have different wants. We have different lives. We have different lifestyles. It's a matter of we have to start defining what we want and why that's important to us first, and then bring the abundance in creating that. It doesn't have to be living high on the hog, right? It could be a simple, home with a community school and, having your parents help you with the kids. To me, that sounds like a pretty damn great life, right? What's wrong with that? You have people, wealth, I just think this whole wealth and everything, it has this connotation of, it's about money and it's about a lot, mega money and being wealthy. To me, wealth is about joy. And you have to define what brings you joy. What do you want? Why do you want it? When you start with what do you want, why is that important to you? And then you build a business that supports that. Then you have the greatest wealth than anybody can desire. It doesn't matter if it's $100,000, $100, $1,000, $100,000, or anything else.
I agree. Completely agree. And I think people get very caught up in the actual dollar amount of something, what it costs, what I have, what I earned, is it more, is it less? And you kind of lose sight of the whole picture when you're only focused on that one element. And then it becomes that obstacle that we talked about. It becomes the thing that shuts down all the rest.
Right.
Yeah. So what do you tell a client who's struggling with asking for money or grappling with spending on themselves or on their business?
Ooh, two good questions. So first I'm going to do what I tell a client who's struggling asking for money.
Mm-hmm.
I do, although we're talking really heart to heart here, you know, I'm a business coach. I do some hardcore business training. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the most important things I cover is asking for the sale. And it's a tough thing very often with business owners of asking. We question our value, our worth, and we don't want to be that connotation of what we see as that sleazy salesman. Okay,
He's car salesman. We know him.
Yeah, you know, Stan, the car salesman.
Right. We all know him.
No, you know, he has a little hair left on the sides. Bad blazer, and he has a spiel, right? He has this whole talking to system, and let me tell you what you need. Okay, ew.
And he knows what you need.
He knows what you need. Yeah. Right? He's going to tell you what you need. Okay, so when we come to as business owners, when we're building our business, we are the top salesperson in our company. So when you don't want to actually ask for the money, it's a little bit of a problem. So in some of the teachings I do, I change the word sale, S-A-L-E, I'll get this right, to S-A-I-L. And I teach a whole methodology around looking at selling as sailing. And more than anything, the people you're doing business with, of helping them sail. Your job is to help them sail. How much do you want to help people? Most people really want to help people. So whether you're a service or a product, how that helps them and why that's valuable to them. And it's not about you. You're not the product. Get over yourself if you're a service-based business. And they do this whole teaching around that. But, you know, get over it. How can you help somebody else move forward? Mm-hmm. And when we see that we are coming to help, and if we don't ask for an exchange of dollar value in that help, then they won't take the work seriously and they won't get the help they need.
Sailing away.
Yeah. And it's important. It's important. And it's just, that's kind of part of the ecosystem now then. If we continue to help and we are exchanging service for value, right? And everybody's growing. Yes. Then our clients want to pay for it. And we're taking their money because that has them investing as a higher level. Mm-hmm. Because if somebody says, yeah, I'll take some coaching and, you know, it's about $20. Oh, and I have all this homework to do. Oh, you know what? I'll do it right before the next call. Are they getting the value out of it? Because it was only $20. And am I being fair to not me, but am I being fair to them? No, because that's not going to work to grow their business. It's not going to help them improve their life if they're not actually doing the work. You want them to care about the work and do the work. That's the best thing they can do to grow. And that's what I stand in.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if they're grappling with spending on themselves or their businesses, that's kind of the little bit of the reverse of that. So you got the money, but you don't really want to spend it because you've got this fear of overspending or fear of your own worth in some way, or not really sure if it's coming in again. I don't know. Where do you stand with that one?
Well, I've stood in those shoes, so I'll tell you where I stand with that one. Okay. I've invested very, very heavily in Slater Success. Okay. And I got to the point that I was in such dire straits. Okay. So a little bit of my story here is, in building Slater Success, I had a plan. I always have a plan. I'm a planner by nature. So it's not something I just started doing. I've always, believe me, this is just the way I was brought up, so to speak. Okay. I come from a stream of female planners, so to speak. So, in creating this plan to transition from printing to coaching, I had this whole plan, and I spoke to my husband, and I had the support of my family, and everything was good. And then sometimes plans go awry. Okay, well, this one did. I had almost no income anymore from Slater Graphics. I was not really making money from Slater Success. My husband's business unexpectedly needed to shut the doors. It left us multiple seven figures in debt, which was staggering. We moved the kids 3 times in 2 years. And now I'm in a situation of Ivy needs to start making an income again. We live in New York City, raising 2 teenagers in New York City at the time. We needed money. Okay. You can talk all the value you want, but bills needed to be paid. Okay. We were in a bad situation. So I did something that was completely illogical, and I am not recommending to anybody on record you should do what I did. I'm sharing my story, and I like to be really clear about this. Okay. I knew for 3 years I was making under $30,000 as a coach. I then had learned that the average coaches make under $30,000. Said, well, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to pay the bills, and it's not going to get us out of debt. I then took the only money we had left put aside, which was 1 year of a college tuition for my son, okay, of a New York State school. And I took that number and I invested it into a high-level coaching program, which if I failed, the only way I could pay that back was to take his college money, which there was no way I was going to do. He was at this time a junior in high school. This was gambling. And that's why I'm saying I don't endorse this. But I made the decision, I did it, and I did everything I was told to do, kicking, screaming, and crying. Okay? So sometimes, why do you invest? You invest when you need to figure out a different way to do something. You need to invest when you actually are doing the same thing the same way, and it continues not to work. If you don't know what you're supposed to do. To me, investments, I've made investments over the years in team. I grew a team before I grew my business to the level I needed the team at. But when my business hit that level, I was running smoothly. Okay? I took a piece of proceeds and invested in team. I believe in that. I invest in marketing. You know what? Guess what? Go study some marketing. I spent 20 years in printing. My clients were marketers and advertisers. Know that 25% of marketing works and 75% doesn't. Right? The 25% that works will make the money. So how do we figure out what the 75% that doesn't work is? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Just do it all. Let's figure it out. We have to invest to figure it out. Every business and every person is a little different. So I strongly believe in investing. I strongly believe in mentorship. The mentorship I invested in changed my business and brought me to a multiple 6-figure business in a matter of 3 years, less than 3 years. I invested that year with making $2,500 a month. That year I invested, which was a crapshoot. I turned $100,000, doubled it the next year, came close to doubling it again. Okay, I believe in investing. Mm-hmm. I know you don't invest when you're not willing to do the work of the investment.
And that's essentially what's behind everything that we do. It's the work, because the only way we can move anything and the only way we can accomplish anything is to do the work involved in it. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't like work. They like what they know because they're comfortable. It's kind of like that old pair of shoes. You know, you keep sliding into the old pair. You don't wear the new pair because you know the old pair, right? But the old
new one's going to hurt the first few times you wear them, right?
The new pair does you know, will take you forward. The old pair, it's a friend, but it's not taking you anywhere anymore. It's worn. So where can you step up and do the work? And there's work involved in any change that we do, in any time that we really want something and we value it. There's work in it. There's work in every relationship, every friendship that we have, and certainly in every part of our businesses. There's work involved.
Well, Randi, in what you do in this whole idea of reinventing ourselves, okay, and I went through this. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of work going through that process and figuring out, what do I want to be when I grow up? Yeah. And at 45.
Yeah. What do I want to be when I grow up? And you know what? This may not be the last round of it. I'm not grow up again.
Right. And looking back, I just turned 54, so I would say, goodness, so it was about 9 years ago that I went through my midlife crisis and saying, what am I going to do? What am I going to do next? Mm-hmm. What is this going to look like? And it took several years of evolution and several years of work. And I still, to this day, I still have my own coaches. Absolutely. I need people to go to for my inner development. You know, building a business is the greatest class in self-development. And it's the greatest class of torture in self-development. So I go for my own support.
Right. And this whole reinvention thing, you know, money plays into that too. I think that people at some point along the way figure out, I always wanted to do that. Or, you know, if only I had gone to law school, or I had done, but I'm too old now, or it's too late in the game for me to start something. Well, listen up, people. It's not too late, because if you're willing to do the work involved and you're willing to define the success on your terms, the reinvention's yours, and it's trending, because we live longer. And, you know, people used to retire at 60 or 65, and life expectancy was 65 or 70 maybe. And so you had 5 years to play golf. Now, people are living to 70 or 80. 25 or 30 years to play golf is a long time. And people don't want to do that, even if you have the funding to support yourself for that long. So what's next? What is that thing that you can step into? What is that thing that you can embrace, and not being afraid to explore it? I think I both did.
You know, like one of my biggest role models in this whole adventure has been Louise Hay. Mm-hmm. You know, she really got started on her reinvention at 70.
Yes.
And she's going strong. And I'm like, okay, well, this might be my midlife career. Who knows what's going to be 15 years from now?
Exactly. One of my clients went back and is in school right now getting her Bachelor of Science. She started at 60. So, you know what? There's no time limit anymore, except the one that you put on yourself.
Right.
That's the one you have to be mindful of, not the one that the world puts on you, but the one that you're putting on yourself. And my next question is, do you think there are differences in how men perceive money and success and how women equate the same things?
Yes, I actually do. And all for the good. So there was a show on Broadway. It had, I'll call it 100 years ago, and I don't remember the name of it. But I remember the first 10 minutes of the show, I was caught. I was so in. And it was a one-man show, and the actor was the guy who played the commish. Okay? Me and my memory. Came out and he said, listen, ladies in the audience, it's not our fault, meaning it's not the guy's fault. It goes back to the days of the caveman. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then job was take the spear, go out, spear the buffalo, take buffalo home, dinner is served for the next month.
Hunters and farmers, right? Exactly.
Right. Women's job was you take all the children with you, and you have the baby here and the toddlers at your feet, etc. And you're going out to gather. Right. Got it? Right. Their gatherings, they found some potatoes, they found some herbs, they found some greens or whatever it is. And they meandered and they gathered. Got it?
Got it.
So it comes from two different perspectives. Okay? Two different heritages in what our jobs and roles are. In the same way, the way women and men look at success is a little different naturally. It's the way it goes back to the caveman. So the way I see men and success is men are very straight, right? Go spear the buffalo. Did this well, great, gonna do it again, same way.
You need it when you're hungry.
Right. I feel really good. I brought home a buffalo. I'm going to go get another buffalo. Okay. That's it. It's very head based. It's very ego based. Okay. Yes, it worked. Did good. Got accolades. Going to do it again. And the family came home and said, "Oh, look, buffalo food. Yay. Oh, yay. I'm going to do this again." Everybody loved it. I feel good about myself. I provided. Got it?
It's very linear.
It's about the spear.
About the spear. And it's about being hungry.
And providing. And they feel good that they've provided. And that ego feeling good wants to repeat it again. Okay? A woman works more from her heart center. Okay? We want to feel good, just like the guys want to feel good. Same goal. Okay? But we feel good when we give.
It's a nurturer.
Right. It is the nurturers in us. It's 100% the nurturers in us.
So we feel good watering the crops and planting the seeds and checking on it every morning. And yeah, it's a process.
Exactly. So how do we feel good? We feel good when we see something grow. We feel good when we've helped somebody. When we help somebody, we want to go do it again. It's not about bringing back the plant. It's about helping our neighbors watch the kid so they can go make their dinner, right? It's this feel-good, nurturing experience. So it's a very different experience than the men. So it's not that one, ego is wrong or ego is right. It's not that nurturing is right or nurturing is wrong. It's just from two different perspectives. So you have to reach each person of where they are and how you can support them.
But there is a different point of view, I think, for men and for women when they're approaching money and the idea of money and the idea of success. There's a different buy-in.
Absolutely. The idea for women, from what I've seen, is success is when they can do good for others. And it doesn't mean men don't want to do good for others, but that's not where they're measuring it.
Right. Exactly. The measurement's different. It's a different yardstick.
Exactly.
The spear. Point.
Exactly. Men have a very straight yardstick. Women have more of a tape measure that rolls up at the end of the day.
All the visuals. And one last question with this. What do you think are the differences now with the millennial generation? I have a daughter who's graduating from college this year. I'm seeing a very different point of view in how they look at finances, or they look at the ability to succeed or make money. Can you speak to that a little bit? As opposed to
well, I have a daughter who's turning 24, so I'll take it from that point of view. And I have a son who's still in college. He's finishing his junior year. So taking it from this point of view, there's some interesting things that I'm noticing and I'm hearing being said. So the millennials have a very high quality of life. value. Okay. So they will take less money for better life quality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very new concept in generations. It's usually more money, more life. They're like, no, no, no.
Right.
You could pay me less if you give me better life. You have a gym included, and I can go at lunchtime and in the place that I'm working out, and you have, parties, all part of the scene, and you have a whole community here. It's okay. I can take a little less money. That works.
Mm-hmm.
So their level of how they see what is important to them is different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there is a difference, and it's interesting to see, because I think for some of them it makes it a little difficult to get started.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not long haul, we don't really know yet, but in the beginning phases of it, I think it's a little more difficult to approach what you want and why you want it.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting to watch them evolve.
Yeah, in a lot of ways.
In a lot of ways. But what's interesting is looking at some of the companies that are coming up with them and how they are meeting the millennials where they want to be.
Right.
So you look at these philosophies in corporate, in Google, in Amazon, in Yelp. There's very different corporate philosophies. And it's because they want the millennials, and they're meeting the millennials where they want to be met.
It's interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see where that plays out as they age, as you said. So we touched on this a little bit, and then we're going to wrap up. But in my practice, I like to tell my clients to really listen to their own lives. Be mindful of what your life is saying to you and some of the nuances that may be going on for you. And I think you did touch on your story before. And I think it's part and parcel with why you do what you do. And it's interesting because you tweaked completely what you wanted to be when you grew up. And along with that, you had a life-altering event, essentially, for your family in terms of your businesses, your husband's business, what that meant for where you needed to be. But you listened. You heard the little crackling noises, and you said, hey, I'm going to do this. Can you speak to that a little bit as to what that really means, to listen to what's in front of you, to see those signs on the road, if you would, of what's out there for you? Because I think people miss a lot of those signals sometimes.
Yeah, people miss way too much. We I truly believe in listening to what's going on around you and showing up and saying every day, what can I do? What can I do? And, Randy and I say this 1,000 times.
And I also carry it forward everywhere I go every day. So it's become my mantra as well. So thank you, Ivy, for the what can you do?
Yes. We were I'll give you a quick one. We were in a really bad place. Okay. And I knew we were going to lose our home. I knew we couldn't pay the bills. And I ran into a neighbor, and this was in 2008. So her husband was being transferred to Hong Kong. I'm so glad I saw you. Want to say goodbye, caught up. And I said, so what are you doing? And she goes, well, I just sublet the apartment. I said, really? So I said, we were in a condo building. We owned our apartment. And I said to her, okay, can I just curious about the market value? Can you give me in a ballpark of what the sublets, she gave me the number. And I said, wow, what agent did you use? Just asking from curiosity. She tells me that. I go inside the apartment. I call them. I make an appointment to see them the next day. My husband comes home. He's completely stressed. His business had not yet closed, but it was on the way. There was a lot of heavy decisions being made. And I told him that I made an appointment with a real estate broker. And he's like, are you crazy? Like, blah, 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 blah. I said, what can we do? I know one of the things we can do is if we can sublet this apartment at a number close to that, we can pay this mortgage and we can move somewhere and we can keep a roof over our kids' heads. That's the priority. That was my priority. What can I do? And it was just literally, I was walking in the hall to take out the garbage. It was that the moment was there that presented an opportunity, and it could have went like right over my head, right?
Absolutely. It could have just been like something that you never acted on.
Exactly. And it was all of a sudden, it's like, oh, what do I do with this piece of information? Am I listening to what's going on around me? And it's staying in touch to your environment, to your life, and not just living, as we were saying before, with the blinders on.
Right. Being in tune with what's next, because we shift and we change, and we're supposed to do that. So I give everyone permission to shift and change, because that's what we're supposed to be doing. It's a wonderful thing. So thank you so much. I am going to talk a little bit about where everyone can reach both of us, or I'll talk about me, and then you can tell about some of the things that are coming up for you, because there's some really exciting things, as there always are, Ivy. I would love everyone to reach out to me on my website at any time, www.randylevincoaching.com. And you can also download my free gift to you, which is my free ebook, 9 Actionable Tips for Mastering Your Road to Reinvention. And in it, I have 9 tips, 9 strategies that I use with my private clients, that each one has its own action step involved in it. And that's my gift to you. Also, reach out to me at randy@randylevincoaching.com. Any questions, comments you have, or for a free strategy session. I would absolutely adore that. You can find Conversations with the Coach under the Talk Show tab on my website as well, so you can see previous. And I have a future one coming up on 5/6, Moms on Moms. It's a kickoff for Mother's Day weekend with myself and Jen Marchetti of Ridgewood Moms and Power Network, of which I'm a contributor, and we have two wonderful people on our panel as well. Fern Weiss, who is a parent coach and educator, and we also have a mom blogger as well. And I have a bunch of live things as well that you can always find and subscribe to on my website as well coming up. And a big one at Morgan Stanley on 5/20, the continuation of Women in Worth. And this is another kickoff with Carrie Fitzgerald and Martha Fickinger. And we'll be talking about Sizzling Summer 16, Relax, Reboot, and Relaunch Your Money, Your Mindset, and Your Style. Again, www.randylevincoaching.com. And Ivy, tell us about Slater Success Live.
Okay, so I have a one-day event coming up in New York City. It's called SSC Live. It's a full day of business building. What we're working on is identifying your marketing, your sales, and your money strategies to build your business that fits what success means to you. So we're really about creating what success means to you and then building the strategy and plan with that. So it's marketing, sales, money, and the mindset around success that actually pulls it all together. You can find details on my website. Go to slatersuccesscoaching.com and look for SSC Live. You can also on the website download ROI, which is Return on Your Initiative, 5 steps to more sales and money in your business, and most importantly, in your life.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ivy. I love having you on. This was great. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
Yeah. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.